Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 28th of December 2018. So, yep, getting ready for that 2019 year. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session. Where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts as always. But before we do that, as usual, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is Nikkei. Now, Nikkei, looking at this daily chart, you can see that today we had not that big of a day as we had on the 27th, which is yesterday, but nevertheless, kind of still closed the day in the positive territory. So, of course, look, all this picture here we're seeing, it kind of looks quite promising for the bulls, especially if we're going to continue moving higher here and start breaking some of these key areas of resistance, and like the 20,211 or the 20,345 areas approximately there above that. Just to kind of point you out that the 20,345 area initially was seen as the lowest point of this year, but of course the index managed to break that to the downside and created a new low, which was right about here, and that was approximately around the 18,950 level, approximately there, guys. So from which it kind of rebounded quickly back up here and got back into the territory above the 20,000 psychological 20,000 level. So of course we still have 1 day to trade, I believe so, if I'm not mistaken, but that's probably it. Next Monday we still have a trading session. I do apologize, actually. I do, just to quickly correct you guys. I mean, correct myself actually. So no, the Japanese index is closed on Monday. So now we're gonna reopen only in the new year. So basically, we can say that the index has now finished the year in above 20,000. So of course, that's quite in a way looking promising for the index. I mean, we could see maybe a bit of a travel here back up here. The only thing is that you should in a way keep in mind that we do have now this little medium-term downside resistance line, which in a way going to be an important one to watch, especially if this continues to travel higher here and if it continues to move above the 20,345 level. So yep, of course some higher levels are possible here, especially like I said, if we're going to get a nice pop above the 20,345. This is where we could then aim for the 20,972 area approximately there, which you can see that acted as a nice area of support initially here between the end of October and the beginning of, or should I say mid-December. And of course, if that doesn't hold, we could see this one traveling further up here. But again, be very cautious on this one because like I said, we do have this now downside resistance line taken from the high of the 2nd of October, which could in a way hold the price down, and yeah, we could see maybe the bears stepping in again and pushing this one back down. So long story short, guys, for now, certainly looking at this index, I mean, this is where we're going to be keeping an eye on. We're seeing that nice recovery here a little bit, of course, but like I said, the 20,345 level, this is going to be the one that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. And on the downside, of course, certainly it would be, even if this would travel a little bit lower, still for us to get more comfortable with lower levels, we would need to see a nice good drop here below these lows that we saw here in December, and that was around the 18,945 area approximately there. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Keep your eyes on these levels. Certainly that's quite an it was an interesting ride here for Nikkei, but again, let's see how the new year starts off, and of course let's see how this performs in the next year. But to be honest, if this direction is going to prevail, then, well, I mean, probably 2019 doesn't look very promising for Nikkei. But then again, if we do get a break above this downside resistance line, then maybe not all is lost for the bulls. Looking at silver here, and silver continues to pop to the upside nicely here, breaking, of course, breaking through the 15, the psychological 15 level, and also now breaking above the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line. So this, of course, turns silver now into the bullish territory, quite from the probably more longer term perspective. Of course, we could see maybe a bit of retracement here going back down, but then again, initially, of course, if we do see something like that, keep your eyes on the 200 EMA. If this remains above this 200 EMA, certainly our next potential target here could be around the 15.45 zone, approximately there, or even a little bit higher here. We do have some good areas like the 15.50, but again, slightly above that, we do have the 15.75 zone, which acted here in the past as nice area of support until the mid-July of this year, of course. So for now, guys, of course, this is looking more bullish than bearish, but again, let's not forget we could see a bit of retracement here, a bit of a correction here before it could before, let's say, another leg of buying here. So on the downside, well, I mean, for us to, let's say, turn quite bearish on this one, we would probably now need to see a good drop below this little area here that acted as a very nice area of resistance, as you can see, from which it kind of popped nicely to the upside. So that was around the 14.91 level, of something like that. So a nice good drop below this could again send this commodities, this precious metal, back down here towards a retest of this in a way short-term upside support line here, taken from the lows of the 14th of November. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on it. Let's see, of course, let's see how far it can travel higher here, but again, let's not forget that we could see a bit of correction at some point. So yep, don't forget about that. Again, but what's more important here to watch is the 200 EMA, and see how how silver kind of performs around that line. Jumping into DXY now, and DXY here moving lower. Certainly looking at this daily chart, it had a nice try here to push higher, kind of got held near the 97.11 level approximately there. You see, it never kind of managed to break above it, and certainly now it's kind of on the path lower. The next potential target that we're keeping a close eye on from the very short-term perspective, of course, is the 96.17, or even actually the 96.10 area. They're both quite close here, but in a way you could also consider a possibility of maybe just having an undershoot here and touching the 100 EMA here, shown as the green line, which also could get tested. But for now, let's of course move slowly. Let's go step by step. Initially, what we'll aim for here is the 96.17 or the 96.10 actually area. So keep your eyes on those. For the upside here, well, from the very short-term perspective, in a way, you could keep an eye on the 96.55 level here. As you can see, in the past, it acted as a very nice area of support, where the actually, especially given here from this week. I mean, this week it was holding the bodies of the candle here, candles, kind of from dropping lower, from closing lower. Let's put it that way, and This is the level that you could keep an eye on, the 96.55. A nice good push above it could potentially maybe send this one a little bit higher here. The question here is, would we reach actually the 97.10? Certainly that would be on our target, but we would be very careful here around the 21 EMA shown as the yellow line, which you probably can't really see very clearly, but believe me, it's there. And of course we could maybe hit this area around the 96.85. So, but then again, we need to see this reversal back above the 96.55 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Looking at a few pairs now. So the USDCAD, now looking at this crazy pair, certainly is having a fantastic run here. Of course, you probably understand that the oil is selling off, and even though it managed to recover slightly recently, but nevertheless, looking at this pair, looking at the CAD is declining against the its neighboring US dollar quite severely here, to be honest. And certainly yesterday we had another push, but you can see that kind of the pair is getting held here next to the this level right here. Let me just kind of let me just shift this chart a little bit. So it's kind of getting held here near this 136.65 area, approximately there, just not far from there. At the moment, it's kind of stuck here. Of course, look, technically speaking, it's quite overbought right now. But again, if you want to actually look at the bigger picture here, which is actually quite interesting, and if we jump into the weekly chart, guys, and just to kind of show you what's happening here, you can see that of course, last week was a tremendous week for USD-CAD. It had a nice push here, and you can see how overbought this pair is right now. The big question here is, of course, are we gonna get a bit of retracement here, maybe going a little bit lower? You can see that the pair managed to reach its January's levels now of January's and May levels of 2017. Which is quite interesting. And of course, the pair has created new highs this year, and now it's, like I said, trading next to the highs of May 2017. The big question here is, of course, is this going to continue going higher up until it reaches the highs that we saw here actually of May, which are the May highs were around the 1.3795 area, approximately there. So will we actually manage to reach that level? Of course, there could be a possibility for reaching that, but again, probably would be nice to see a bit of correction here to the downside, and then maybe another push higher here. So in a way, initially, of course, keep your eyes on this quite important level here around the 135.45 area, approximately there, which was near the highs of this week, commencing the 29th of May. And certainly, of course, this is going to be the important level to watch, because a nice good drop below this level could potentially signal a bit of more selling here, and we could maybe drop lower. Now, of course, looking at this weekly chart here, guys, you could in a way say that this could be our nice good potential area of support here, which is around the 133.85 zone, marked by the highs that we saw here in June. So quite important level. Certainly, like I said, it could be interesting to see a bit of correction here to the downside, just because we are quite overbought here. But then again, let's see if it actually still has got some steam left, and it will continue pushing higher. This is the level that we're going to be keeping an eye on from the short-term perspective. Of course, the 136.65 area, approximately there. A nice good push above that could, like I said, open the path towards the 137.95 zone. So for now, be very cautious with this one, especially with selling. So let's see how this plays out, and we still have the Monday's trading day, the full day. Let's see how this actually, where it finishes the year on Monday. And the last pair I want to quickly touch on now is the euro dollar. I do apologize for the amount of lines here. Now you can see that it's trying to finish off this week in the positive territory. You can see that this weekly candle now is pushing higher. Overall, of course, it has been on a downslide here since February, and of course now it's trying to maybe recapture some of its lost grounds. But if you look at the daily chart here today, what's happening here today, yes, it's pushing nicely here. It's pushing to above the 114.43 zone approximately there. To be honest, we need to have actually remove some of these lines because it's a bit of a mess here. So now what we're targeting here is the 114.86 zone, which was last week's high, and of course let's see if it actually reaches that. And if it reaches that and actually breaks that level, well, actually we do have a strong chance of seeing the 115 level getting hit, the psychological 115 level. And if we do see a hit of that, then of course that would place automatically the pair above the 100 EMA here. Certainly that would be quite a bit of a bullish sign here for traders. And if this continues to travel further up here above the 115 level, then of course what we will be targeting will be the 115.50 or even the 115.75. But to be honest, of course the focus will be on this 200 EMA. As you can see here, back in September it acted as a very good area of resistance. This time it could play the same role if this continues to travel higher above the 115 level. But this is where the main kind of interest will happen. Probably the main battle will happen between the bulls and the bears, because if this continues to push higher and kind of remains above this 200 EMA, then, well, I mean, we could see maybe actually a retest of this downside resistance line, this in a way tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 16th of February. But for now guys, be very cautious. Let's move step by step, and first let's target the 114.86. let's see if actually we manage to reach that. But given where the pair is right now, it seems that it wants to continue traveling further up here. Of course, initially aiming for this 100 EMA, and then the 114.86, or even actually the psychological 115 level. On the downside, well, looking at the 4-hour chart actually, and from the very short-term perspective, so for us, in order to consider the downside, we would probably need to see a drop here below this little area here at around 114.25. A nice good drop below this could open the path, of course, initially towards the pivot, which is around the 114.10, something like that. And if that doesn't hold, well, further declines could be possible. We could maybe retest this tentative downside resistance line from above, or even actually go all the way to test this upside support line that kind of in a way plays out nicely here for now. It continues to act as good support, so we could see maybe that one getting tested. But then again, guys, that's what I'm saying, we need to see a drop below the 114.25 first, and then we'll consider this area lower. But for now, judging by the picture we're seeing here right now, it seems to be on the path north. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and if you want to join me later on in my traders tea time, and that's 14:15 GMT time, yep, and I'll be happy to kind of run through some other charts with you guys, so please join me later on. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading session if you're trading, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye bye.